Hey, everybody. We are your CineNerds, and this is what, episode 26 this will be?
26, yeah.
26. I can count. Ryan looks confused.
I just love hearing you try and keep up with the numbers every time.
Well, because technically 25 is happening tonight because we're recording this early, so I have to make sure I'm doing this right.
And we know this is 26 this time because we don't have episodes jumbled around that I'm still editing, so he actually got it right this time.
Bitch.
It's about time.
With that being said, I'm James.
Episodes.
I am JP.
That's little Nikki.
And I'm Ryan.
It's little Nikki. I told him on the Mudvayne tour, I was like, I'm just getting sick of you looking at you, little Nikki ass haircut. Like,
I didn't want to shave the side of my head again, so I didn't have to paint my head every night we play a show.
It's not that bad. And I found a new way to take care of all of it. I'm just going to travel with Dawn dish soap. Work like a charm.
If it's good enough for the animals, no oil spills.
That's what I said.
Good enough for
He said, save a duck.
Save a duck, kill a pedophile.
pedophile.
I said that on tour. So we are doing your movie.
Yes.
What is it?
It is Singles, which is from 1997. It is a Seattle-based movie filled with all the grunge and singles lifestyle you can imagine. So it's. I love the movie. I appreciate it. I didn't know how these two were going to translate this. So we'll see. Let's dive into it.
There was not enough grunge.
So this is
Sure there was.
No, there was not.
Bro.
Initial reactions.
Yeah.
This was your first time watch, right?
No.
Okay.
First time watch, right?
No.
No, it was
Yes,
not?
it was my first time watching it, and no.
That's all you're going to say about it? No.
There was one thing that I thought was cool. It was a transition from one scene to another, and all you hear is dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. And I'm like, they put Spoon Man in before Spoon Man was released. That's pretty cool.
There's more to that, but I'll get into that later.
I can't wait to hear it because that's the only thing I cared about.
So my initial, I actually went to I'm showing my age. I went to the movie
Your
theater.
sideburns don't show that?
Bite me. I watched this movie in the movie theater, and when it originally came out, and
I did as well.
I never even knew this was a movie until you said something.
yeah, no, it was heavily promoted on MTV and things of that nature. Whenever it came out,
I didn't have cable back then,
and I was excited because I was kind of a little bit of a grunge kid, and I went to the theater and watched it. And what year did this come out?
92.
That was 97, I thought.
No, it was way early. It was like 90.
Oh,
yeah.
Starship, the other movie. One of the other choices,
Yeah, 90. So I would have been 13 when it came out. As a 13-year-old watching this film, I did not identify with this film at 13.
Yeah, you think?
And
you were just like, God, life's going to suck.
And this movie sucked. I walked out of the theater going, what the fuck did I just watch? This movie sucks so bad. Is this what grunge is? And I was like, fuck this. Let's go listen to some Brooklyn hardcore scene music. And
You turned on Garth Brooks.
I never watched this movie again until it's actually been almost a month ago now because I watched it before we left for tour.
So do you still feel the same way?
I still, as a 40-plus grown man, I do not identify with this film Singles.
No, you're not. You're not gonna at this juncture in your life. But what this movie did. So sorry. Is your
Good enough.
okay? Good. So for you, James, to say that this didn't have enough grunge, you're out of your fucking mind. Let's rewind. This movie, A, it's filmed in Seattle. B, it has Jeff Ament, Stone Gossard,
it's got them all in it.
Eddie
That's
Vedder.
great.
It's got
I
Chris
love that.
Cornell.
I loved all of that.
Tad. Tad is fucking in this.
Who?
Tad.
Who's Tad?
You don't know who Tad is?
No.
Oh my god. Anyways, numerous.
Yeah, frog.
Numerous seriously
like the
amazing.
soda.
Only.
You said Tab?
Not only Seattle-based influences, but grunge scenes. And in the deleted scenes, which is kind of a cool little extra they gave now, they have the full live versions of those things. So this movie embodied Seattle for me. Now, however, to your point, for when it came out, I was just thinking, because, you know, a 13-year-old boy, I'm like, okay, Bridget Fonda's really fucking hot.
That was
Like,
the highlight of the. I actually outside. I told James. I said the highlight of the movie for me, because I always had a crush on Bridget Fonda, was the fact that Bridget Fonda was in this movie.
Do you know who she's married to?
I used to.
I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I knew that.
And the other actress, the other main character, she was pretty well known. She's the garage door remote one. She was also super hot to me at 13, and I definitely was just cool staring at that.
Do you know who she's married to?
I remember, but I don't remember.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So
This is more interesting than the movie.
It is, isn't it?
Dude. Let me just tell you, this movie's far more interesting than the piece of garbage you made me watch. So, oh, dude, that was the biggest pot. We'll talk about that one next. I'll save my grips for that.
Way more funny things to laugh at in that movie.
Like, what? The fucking script? It was fucking garbage. Anyways, Singles to me, it was awesome because it definitely, especially when you get into like this one, I'll put in my top 10 best movie soundtracks as well. This is an amazing soundtrack, amazing cast.
Well, you can't deny the soundtrack. The soundtrack is just a bunch of grunge bands. I mean, so the soundtrack's going to be pretty solid.
There's more Screaming Trees focus in there. There's Jimi Hendrix in there. There's some more things than just the standard grunge that you would have gotten. So it did, as a 13-year-old, did open me up to a few new avenues I might not have seen. Like, I didn't know Screaming Trees were before this movie. This movie definitely opened that whole path for me. So I appreciate them immensely. Now, I will say this. In my rewatch mode, it did not age well. It did not time well at all for me. The transitions, there's definitely some editing that could have been better in this movie, and the transitions from one story to the next, because they're unfolding and bringing it all together, were very drawn out.
I think this movie would have been better if they did it like The Office. Little interviews here and there.
So, do either of you know this? Do either of you know this question? What year did Friends come out?
Wasn't it like 93?
I heard that this movie actually influenced Friends.
Because there's like there's the one character who's like the best friend of the guy who's having the dating issues, and he reminds me of Chandler to the T. And there's so many little sub characters and the way that builds, and even how they break the wall and they're talking to the camera.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like I agree. Like, look, I loved all the musical references. I'm okay with that. It's the rest of the movie I hated because it
didn't age well.
No. It's not even aging. It's because this is still how people act. This is still how people act. They still play the games. They still do the stuff where it's like, oh, well, I got hurt, so should I trust them? Should I? I don't know what to do. I mean, I know that's like human. That's human feeling, and I get that. But in the same aspect, like we still, as a society, act this exact same way.
So here's my.
I got pregnant. She got pregnant. So then we tried, but like. Well, then we lost it, and then we realized maybe we were just staying together. No, you probably weren't staying. You were just using it as an excuse to run.
No one knows anything about that part of the movie. You haven't gone that far.
I'm just talking about it.
But to your point, I do agree to a certain extent. My wife and I just had this conversation the other day. I've been with my wife 20 some years now at this point, and I would not want anything to do with the dating world today.
Hell no.
Fucking the digital aspect, Tinder, all that shit. And I know I'm showing my age here, but I don't care.
I got super lucky how I met Heather. Heather was an accident. I mean, I met my wife on Facebook. It was an accident. I never add girls because I think they're pretty. And I was like, 5 minutes later, chick, and I'm like, and by the end of the night, we were on FaceTime. Like, that shit don't happen. But it's scary to watch. To watch what people post now online about the ghosting and the games. That's essentially. But it's been happening. I think that's just human nature.
Yeah, well, and that's essentially what happened to the main girl in this movie at the beginning. She meets this guy at the bar.
He ran game.
Yeah, he ran hard game on her.
He even stares across at her and he's like, "What are you gonna do about it?"
And then he's like, I'm moving. I got to go back to another country.
Visa's out.
Yeah, I got to go back to another country.
So let me go back into why I chose this movie. So why I chose this movie is because I do feel that this movie has some kind of a core component to anyone who does appreciate music. I do think it is worth at least one watch if you like music in any way, shape, or form. When we went out to dinner, your wife, Jess, and I, and the kids, I asked you about the movie, and you're like, "What's the movie called?" And I told you, and Heather, same thing. You guys didn't know. about it, and it's not just you. It's tons of people who just had never heard of this movie, and it was mind-boggling to me that people my age didn't know it, because I feel like that era of grunge, that era of Seattle was so big, and that was such a push of the movies and MTV, like you said, and so it's just weird for me that people wouldn't have seen it or known about it. And the cast is great. So,
well, and growing up, I had the soundtrack, and the soundtrack was definitely better than the movie, even back then for me.
I mean, I can say that about a lot of movies.
yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason, I never saw the movie, but the soundtrack was great.
Freddy vs. Jason, amazing.
If you say so.
I 100% say so.
I'm trying to remember that soundtrack.
Strangeland, the Strangeland soundtrack was really good. I never saw that
awesome.
movie, but
Strangeland's okay.
why would I
Not
watch
bad.
that?
That's
Because Dee Snider wrote and directed it.
He annoys the hell out of me. Like, I'm sorry, he is annoying.
I feel like everything's annoying to you. You're becoming more of the grumpy old man than us.
No, that's you still.
No.
He's turned into the grumpy old woman.
Yeah.
You leave my vagina alone.
Draggy, saggy drapes.
I'm just at a point where it's like, this is who I am. I'm okay with it. I'm not like, look, I watched. I don't remember where we were when we got the hotel for the 2 days, but you guys had on like a marathon of Halloween movies, and I watched a good bit of it.
I don't remember where we did that at. Was that the Perry's?
No. We were at a hotel where we had the bar where we went down and ate.
Oh, it wasn't Halloween. It was a marathon of Friday the 13th
That's
movies.
it. Yeah. You're right. I watched. I sat there. I watched a good bit. I watched a friend of the show die in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I watched your boy die.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie. I came out of this going, why do people like these movies? Like, it's so shitty. It's not even good.
Because they're fun. And, you know,
They're
I will say this.
They did too many of them.
I will say this.
Three and done.
No, I don't think they did too many of them. I think, and not to get away from singles, but for a minute, the first Friday the 13th is fantastic. The second one is The third one is garbage. The third one, flat out, is garbage. It's trash. Part 4 is great again. It gets good again. 5, I have a soft spot for 5. 6 is fantastic.
I think it was 6 and 7 or 7 and 8 that I watched. I don't know where we were.
6 is fantastic, and then when you get to 7, the one that our guest was in, that's one of the most bonkers one. The girl telling
it. Yeah, I'm watching that. And I'm just like, this is just like, I don't even know what the hell is going on.
So
I've never been into it.
But by the time you get to Freddy vs. Jason is really the best one of all of them.
I agree with you though. Like I sometimes a movie can be complete shit, but the soundtrack can be amazing. And you know what's crazy, and to go even farther into that, like there are some soundtracks like that we just talked about where I put them in my phone recently, and half the songs are gone because they're not even they're grayed out because of licensing issues. Like, then take the whole goddamn thing down.
I think that our next live top 5 is going to be soundtracks. Finally, we're talking.
We probably should have did that anyway.
Well, and you know, talking about soundtracks and Friday the 13th and singles, to go back into singles from Friday the 13th, I'm going to do a big roundabout here.
Don't hurt yourself.
MTV really pushed singles because of the soundtracks, but that was something MTV was doing for a while. And one of the first ones that I really remember MTV really pushing for, they pushed a song off of a soundtrack in order to promote the movie, was Friday 13th Part 6, when they had Alice Cooper do the Man Behind the Mask video. And MTV pushed that Man Behind the Mask Alice Cooper song like crazy, promoting the Friday 13th Part 6. And essentially, that's what they started doing with a lot of these films. And singles is one of those that they...
Do they even still do soundtracks like that anymore for movies? You don't hear about soundtracks
Well, I mean,
anymore.
where are they going to play the videos at?
But it's not even about the videos, though. I mean, just the songs in general.
Reels, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, they're still relevant.
I mean, let's be honest. I'd rather go to YouTube now because I can go find what I want to watch right now.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for it to come on TV.
But you know what I won't do? I won't pay. Sorry, YouTube. I won't pay a monthly allotment of $80 a month to fucking subscribe to YouTube.
No.
That's fucking insane. Like, to me,
I have some friends who have YouTube TV and I love it. But
yeah,
I still
can understand it, but I won't do that. I mean, just like, at least when I pay high amount for a streaming service like Amazon Prime or something like that, that at least it's making it back to me and the free shipping and all those things, and I've got a reason that doesn't add up on YouTube to me.
I agree.
But back to what you were saying as far as the MTV era. So to me, this was when marketing was done right. Because you just saw, like, just seeing the trailer for this movie and hearing the song Wood by Alice in Chains, which
is my favorite song, by the
which we didn't have Dirt. It wasn't released yet. So you got the soundtrack and you got Wood from Alice in Chains before that came out. So hearing that, you were like, is this really new Alice in Chains? This is awesome. I remember seeing the world premiere of the video, too. And I was geeked. Like, that song alone carried me into this movie happy. Mm-hmm. And
I actually bought the soundtrack just so I could have that song.
Yeah. So like, and then to see the performances with Alice in Chains in the movie, granted, there's short moments, but they're still just impactful. They make that scene have that ambiance, and it makes it have that club feel. You kind of get a vibe of what, like, I actually remember when it was like that, when you'd go to a club, you'd hang out with your friends, you'd hang out with a girl, whatever the case, and there was music playing in the background, and that's just the way it was. And that was fun shit. So I watching it as I grew up with it too, like seeing it when I first went to the theater, we were young, it's whatever, hot girls, cool. And as I aged with it into my early 20s, I came to really appreciate it, and now watching it back after being with my wife for so long, ooh.
I can see if I had watched this film, excuse me, if I had watched this film in my 20s, I probably would have loved it.
Yeah,
and especially if I was in my 20s.
Now we're old and grumpy.
Especially if I was in my 20s when it originally came out, and I was in my 20s when grunge was popular, I would have probably fucking loved this film. As a 13-year-old that watched it, it was not for me. As a 40-some-year-old watching it a second time, because I have not watched, like you, I didn't watch it in between.
You missed your mark.
And it's not relevant. It's not any kind of relevance to me.
What was fun for me, and I got a copy of the Blu-ray, is that there was a gag reel, there was deleted scenes, all these things I hadn't seen before. So those things, experiencing those again was kind of cool, and getting to kind of really see it. There's a scene in the movie where the main two characters, which their names are escaping me, but they're saying goodbye, and it's one of those old pulled-on freight elevators. And when the elevator closed, the guy threw a... You good there? You gonna make it? The guy threw
in my chest.
He threw a mannequin hand in the door, so it looked like it closed on his actual hand, and the girl freaked out and screaming, and everyone's dying laughing on set. So, like, little things like that made it way cooler. Or like when they're sitting around the table with Matt Dillon with Pearl Jam, and they're discussing their band, which is called Citizen Dick. They're discussing their band's bad review they got, and how to move forward from that bad review. The outtakes from that were equally hilarious, so it was kind of cool.
And I mean,
I would rather see that.
The solution to fix the reviews was to fire their singer. They just need to fire him.
Citizen Dick.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading here. Do you know who was offered to play the role of Steve but declined?
I do.
Go ahead.
Johnny Depp.
I think I remember hearing that.
I also did. I will say I enjoyed seeing the quick cameo of Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And Xavier McDaniel. You guys are not sports guys, but I remember him.
McDaniels?
Yeah, but he don't.
No.
I mean, he wasn't like awesome by any means, but he was. I do remember him as a player when I was a kid, so that was kind of cool.
And since we're talking about Seattle and we went into basketball a little bit, I will say this. I think you and I completely agree on this too. Like, the 90s, I would say late 80s, 90s is probably the best era of basketball to me possible.
Anybody who argues with me that's a moron.
Yeah,
that's the only time I look down on somebody. I go, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, it was just different.
You know nothing about nothing.
Larry Bird played back then.
Yes, there you go.
Holy crap, he knew something.
Yeah.
But who ruined his career?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Wrong.
Magic Johnson.
Wrong. But same team. Good job. Bill Laimbeer.
Never heard of him.
Bill Laimbeer was an asshole. He was not really there to play basketball. He was there to hurt people. And he threw Bird to the ground pretty hard. A big fight broke out. Him and Bird were ejected, but from then on, Bird had severe back problems, and that's ultimately why he ended up retiring. Lambeer tried to take out Jordan, he just kept missing. He'd get him, but just didn't get him hard enough. But anyway, back to the movie.
The X-Men.
Back to the movie.
I love kind of the premises as to what's going on. I love finding out their career paths, their non-existing career paths, the coffee shop barista aspect, the guy who's trying to save the pollution in the city by making the speed train, all the different aspects.
I actually thought it was a good idea. I could see why that would be a good idea.
At the time. And who... I'm trying to remember the actor who played the mayor, because he's been in so many fucking movies. You remember?
I don't remember.
Mayor Weber, Tom Skerritt.
He's been in so much.
Skerritt.
Yeah, Top Gun.
You've had these things yelled at you, have you? Skerritt.
So, Jay Gearhart from State of Mind, he sends me he FaceTimes me one day and he goes, I need you to settle something for me. My wife thinks your last name is, and she says it all fucked up. He goes, I just think it's Skrrr. And I was like, you're right, you win. She owes you money. And I hung up. So now every time we see him, he just yells Skrrr like a car.
How's your cyanide? Your cyanide. He's like, chug, chug, chug. Yeah,
but I don't remember this guy. I remember his face now that I'm looking at him older. That guy's 90 now. God damn.
Yeah, he was no spring chicken in that movie, even that was 92.
No, but either way. But no, the other thing about this movie that I thought was interesting, one scene that I was like, oh, well, that was actually kind of cool. But when she went to go do the boob thing, and he was like, he was really honest with her. He's like, you don't need to do this. Don't do this for somebody. And I feel like that was a moral thing that I feel would not happen now because everybody just wants money. And I thought that was a kind of a cool way. Like, I thought it was cool they wrote that in like that. You know, it wasn't just like, yeah, let's go do it just, you know, to make somebody happy. Like, I thought that was pretty cool.
Sorry, I can't quit
Are you
coughing.
dying or what? What the fuck's
I've got
happening
a
here?
tickle.
Just
right
go over
here,
there, lay down and die.
and I can't get it.
You got a
to
whole
stop.
couch over there behind. You can't see it. There's a couch over there. Just go die. We'll
know-
bring your pops in here. You can die with your pops.
You know what this is? It's because you guys haven't been on tour together in a couple of weeks, and it's like when somebody loses a limb, it's that phantom pain. It's just existing there.
No, it's because everybody gets sick after tour but me.
James made me sick.
No, Jesus
Phantom
Christ.
cock.
That's all kegging. That's all kegging. Peter Parker.
Shooting spider webs.
Shooting ropes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Your guys pour socks on the tour van.
I don't have to have tour socks. I have James.
Oh, gross. You wish.
He said, "Oh, really?" Like disturbed.
Yeah, that
like,
wasn't.
Like he's,
that was
he
like.
remembered
that was
the feeling.
Ah.
No, that was not like that. This movie, I was 10 when this movie came out. Yeah, I would not have cared about this movie when I was a kid. I would have thought they were a bunch of little whiny bitches. And that's what I thought now, too.
Being the rom-com nut and
I was 10, dude.
Doesn't matter. Now that you just saw it, though, being the rom-com nut that you are and the realist for real movies.
I'm actually surprised. I figured James
I did too.
would like this movie because it's a rom-com.
No, because I hate where we are as a society right now. And this just reminded me of we're still there. 30 years later, we're still the same.
Yeah, but there's lessons learned.
No, there's not.
Yes,
Because,
there is.
but no one's learned from them. We're still
I'm
doing
not
the
talking
same
about
shit.
our society. I'm talking in the movie.
But no one's learning. No one learned from these movies. No one, like, what was learned?
In the movie?
No.
Because we're talking about the movie, not society.
But
The people in the movie learned.
you guys are morons.
We didn't learn.
Nobody learns a goddamn thing. Like, okay,
I'll stay off your lawn, okay?
please.
I stand out here every day yelling at people running this stop sign in front of my house.
Do you sit there with a hairdryer acting like you're you're gunning them? Like,
Slow the fuck down!
that'd be hilarious. I actually would film you doing that. I would drive down here 45 minutes just to film you do that for like 10 minutes. That'd be worth it. But anyway, no, I look, and Heather gets so mad at me because I go into these tangents a lot lately because it's just like, this movie is exactly what I hate about even people now, like especially because of social media. Everyone bitches about, I'm done with guys. I'm done with girls. I'm done with this. I'm done with that. blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, have you not figured out the red flags yet? Stop dating the same person. Just different face.
So another thing that I just did not to talk about all the negative things I don't like about this film, but I've had my entire life, and I don't know what it is about him. It's the same thing with Ben Stiller. I hate Ben Stiller.
I only liked him in...
Matt Dillon.
I never liked him either.
I hate Matt Dillon. Every time I see him, I hate him. I want to punch him in the face. I can't stand him. In any movie he's in, it's just like...
I don't like Ben Stiller except for Dodgeball.
Well, they're in a movie together. Something About Mary.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
Because I see Ben Stiller and I'm like, I don't want to see this.
That's actually funny. So that to me is a good era for Matt Dillon because he's embracing his cheesiness. And I felt like it was well done. Dude.
I am sorry.
Someone punch him.
I am so sorry. I was fine, and then all of a sudden I started getting a tickle. And I can't
Do you need to take a moment to have a beverage or a sip or something?
I've got a cough drop.
Sip. Okay. Yeah, well, those are working.
Yeah, those are going great. Swimmingly.
Ricola.
Outstanding. Those aren't the flavor you had last time, are they?
No, this is a honey flavor.
I kind of want to get shirts made now of Citizen Dick.
All right, so you asked earlier about what I was going to go with the song.
I did ask?
Yes, because
sure?
you mentioned what song did you mention that hadn't even been released yet? Spoon Man. So just so you know, Citizen Dick on set, there were numerous amounts of just staged cassettes that had the cover in it. There was no material on these cassettes. So Chris Cornell actually put, I think it was 4 or 5 songs on these cassettes, and nobody knew about it. So there's actually cassettes out there right now. It had Spoon Man on it, it had Seasons, and there's 3 other songs I don't know. But all those songs were actually recorded early and basically demos put on the Citizen Dick tape. So I would love to try and get my hands on
those are
something
probably
like
worth
that.
something.
Yeah, I imagine so, because there's not many of those.
And not even because it's Citizen Dick, but because it's him.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of
I'm not a giant.
fun little...
I was not a giant Soundgarden fan. Not the early stuff.
Either.
I like Super Unknown. There's some songs I like. I actually, whatever the album was after that, that was actually my favorite album. That was, I think, their last.
After Super Unknown?
Yeah. Hold on.
The one that had Blow Up that's outside the world, yeah.
I liked that album the best.
So, I was looking at some random facts about this movie. And this is, I'm going to give you a positive. Kind of.
Jesus Christ.
Down on the upside.
I hate Cameron Crowe films. I've never liked any of Cameron Crowe
like
films.
Fast Times.
And he didn't do Fast Times at Ridgemont High. No, he did not. He did not do Fast Times at Ridgemont. We have to look this up now.
I'm looking at it right now.
I don't believe it. I believe whatever you're looking
Did
at.
I just get JP?
Maybe.
There is no way that he did that masterpiece. There is no way.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we had before you is possible moment where a cinema fact has been thrown at JP, left into left field from James. Is it true?
It's gone.
Is it true? We don't know. He's still looking. He's
Look
scrolling. He's scrolling. He's got a little smile happening. A little smile.
I stand by my statement.
Was he right?
He's right and wrong.
What?
He wrote Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He did not direct it. So therefore, I'm going to stand by.
I still win.
I'm going to stand by.
I didn't even know that. I still win.
But I'm still going to stand by my statement that I was getting ready to give you props for in this. And let me go back to
Well,
it.
first, James, well done.
Suck it.
Okay, so Cameron Crowe, I've never liked anything Cameron Crowe did, except for he wrote Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Anything he's directed, I've not liked anything that he's directed. This is by far, in my opinion, the best Cameron Crowe film that he's ever directed. I don't like any of his films that he's ever directed, and this is definitely the best film that he did do, that I feel that he did. And I can see, even though I watched this film at the wrong time period for me, I can see if you watch it at the right time period in your life how you may generally really like this film. That being said, one random fun fact about this film that I thought would have made this film better was Cameron Crowe originally wrote this film to be produced in 1984. So
yeah, but the events that led to it becoming singles in Seattle was Andrew Bone.
They should have called it that.
Right? Or Andrew
Singles
Wood.
in Seattle.
Was it Andrew Wood? Sorry, from Mother Love Bone. I was mixing up names. When he passed away, and he kind of took that event, and it kind of transpired into what we got.
yeah.
So I'm good with this for myself.
Well, and it was delayed because of the studio, and then by the time the Mother Love Bone thing happened and all that was when he changed it to singles. But I think I would have actually enjoyed this as like a glam rock era kind of film if it was done in '84.
Did he make a comment earlier about how he didn't like the way it was cut? Didn't you just say about how you didn't like the way that was you?
Yeah, I
I
didn't
was
say
saying
that.
I wish that it would have been not.
Do you know who edited this movie?
Good. Tell me.
Richard Chew,
Tell me.
Excuse you.
Yeah.
best known for Star Wars.
Well, I could. Oh, the 1977. Yeah, I could say the same about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love my movies. Doesn't mean they're not. I mean,
I'm just finding it interesting.
Yeah, the editing.
This was not like a him where I'm like, hey, he did for Fast.
The editing on A New Hope was the worst editing of all the Star Wars films, so that lines up.
Not surprised. Well, I mean, as a whole, I just want to give you shit, but I didn't hate the movie. I didn't like the movie. When I watched it again, the only way I'm ever going to watch this again is if my wife's like, hey, I did want to watch that, and I'm going to go. But if you want to watch that bad, I'll watch it with you.
If you want to see some really cool performances by Alice in Chains, and you like
In the early days,
and you like Bridget Fonda, like I do, watch this film.
Well, so another cool thing, I forgot about this too. So there are some interesting little guest appearances. One of them being Paul Giamatti, who's next to the couple.
This was actually Paul Giamatti's first film debut.
And they were him and a girl were making out in the booth next to where the couple are going on their first date, and he just looks over and he's like, "What?" And he's being bothered. It was kind of interesting, and I want to point out. I mean, it's funny because my wife and my son were just watching the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man with him and his Rhino.
Where he played Rhino,
and it was like minutes before I had started watching this with the wife, and she's like, "Why does that guy look familiar?" I'm like, "You just watched him as the Rhino." But I'm going forward with this. So also, there's a grocery store clerk in this that is Jeremy Piven. And Jeremy Piven, he actually cost the production a little bit of money. In his little speech where he's talking about the main character's DJing days in college, he actually starts using lyrics from a Public Enemy song, and royalties had to be paid out when they're all said and done. So I found that kind of interesting because he improv'd it. It was not scripted. So that's always appreciative. Yeah, I don't know. There's just fun little musical tie-ins, throwbacks, guest appearances.
There's a lot of really cool things to
the time period. If you loved early 90s, then you're going to love this movie.
Yeah.
If you moved on from those grunge days, you're going to go, eh.
Yeah.
Eh. JP went, eh.
I went, eh. And I love the grunge era, but I still went,
It was funny when I got here because he goes, what'd you think? And I go, eh. And he goes, so we'll do that one first, and just go, no, moving on.
There's a really good docuseries on Netflix. It's called Hip Hop: The Evolution, and I had the privilege to watch that recently, and I can't speak more highly about the docuseries. It was amazing. But the cool things that it pointed out was it wasn't just hip hop. It was showing how when hip hop was starting out, how their vibe and their scene correlated with the New York punk and hardcore scene, and how everyone was trying to find this new and interesting thing, and they felt like they were the misfits, and it all tied together. And this hip hop evolution, as it progresses through the years, you see the crossover with bands like Beastie Boys and grunge era, and you see these things coming to fruition. So yeah, if you're a big fan of grunge era, you cannot pass this movie. This movie is definitely something you should give a watch, and at very least have the soundtrack in your collection.
Yeah, the soundtrack's great. Soundtrack is great. And talking about the hip hop thing, I don't know. I just started thinking about House of Pain because I love House of Pain, and they were really rock and roll.
You were a House of Pain guy.
I love House of
House.
Pain.
I would have never pegged you as
Love
a
House
House
of Pain. I still love House of Pain. Still love House of Pain.
I like Everlast solo stuff. So
I love Everlast. And DJ Lethal.
I need to really start thinking about my life choices. And
Oh,
who I
come
hang out
on.
with.
You like DJ Lethal and Limp Bizkit?
I mean, was he worth it?
Was it worth it?
Let me ask you a question. Was he worth as much as even is the DJ in Deftones? What does that guy do?
DJ Lethal's
everything
awesome.
now.
Yeah.
Well, you may be honest. Yeah. No one knows. He's just like play.
Dude,
no.
Here,
I will say Chino killed Coachella on the videos I saw.
Well, rewind.
He lost a lot of weight.
First weekend, not so much. Second weekend, yes. It's like I think he had two
saw it
bands.
and he was like,
well, I think Crosses played the first weekend, and he was saving his voice. And then that second weekend, he finally screamed it open up, and I saw those videos, and I was like, whoa, okay, there it is. But yeah, no. To your point, that's an issue for me right now with some of the music. Like, I love Deftones, early Deftones, and yes, I love seeing a band mature and grow and unfold into a new path and whatever suits them. But like, when I can put on Crosses, Palms, Team Sleep, and Deftones, and I can't tell who's who anymore.
You can tell with Team Sleep. Team Sleep's got its own vibe.
Not anymore. No, dude, no.
They haven't done anything new.
Yeah, they have. They've been releasing
now?
stuff. Yeah.
Because I literally looked like 3 months ago and there was nothing.
Yeah, they've got a couple.
It was
new
a live
songs
thing. That's all I saw on Apple Music.
They have a couple new songs out, and then you're right. The Team Sleep stuff, the beginning, the early stuff, like Boulevard and all that stuff. That's.
I can't even say the first song's name. X something. Yeah, look, like there's only 2 albums.
No, Team Sleep just dropped something.
Well, it's not on Apple Music. I'm getting fucked here. But either way, no, it all sounds the same. You're right. So it's like you keep doing the same band with other people.
But to your point, I do feel that DJ Lethal added a solid element to early Limp Bizkit.
Early.
I didn't care for anything after Chocolate Starfish. I'm just like,
Golden Cobra. How many nerds you giving this?
What's box office on this?
What do you think it was?
Let's make it. Don't spill the beans to us. Let us guess. We're gonna start.
What do you think the budget was?
We'll start with budget.
What do you think the budget was?
I'm gonna say $8 million.
I have no idea.
Take a guess. Give me a number.
Budget for this. I'll go a little higher. I'll say 10 mil.
Split the difference.
Okay, so 9
9.
mil. Okay.
What did the box office do?
Worldwide, domestic.
Yeah, what do we?
No, I'm on Wikipedia, so it's probably worldwide.
Domestic, I'll go 60 mil.
I'll say domestic. It probably did.
Where do you want me to look it up at? So I get. Is it better on IMDb?
I don't know. Would it even come up on IMDb? I mean, there's box office websites you can go to.
Well,
but
I'm just sticking on Wikipedia.
Let's say I'm going to say domestic. I don't think this movie made a lot of money. I don't remember it making a lot of money. I'm going to say 15 million, and we'll say worldwide total. We'll say 20.
It's got box office 18.5.
So
it does say here, the film was distributed by Warner Brothers, released theatrically on September 18th, 92. Generally positive reviews from critics and a moderate box office success, grossing over 18 million.
Yeah, so that's pretty close.
Yeah,
and it went on to influence Friends.
That's probably its biggest claim to fame.
That's his biggest claim to fame.
Because actually, I think Friends is hilarious. I don't care what anybody says.
I don't like Friends.
Joey and Chandler in the first 3 seasons, it's fucking hilarious.
Here's the thing. So, like, Portland and Seattle kind of have a gray to them. And so I feel like they were really trying to channel that. But I could see Singles, even a modern-day version of it, becoming having that humor element and having those things. So I just think he was trying to embrace that vibe for the scene. At the
Was
time.
Friends in Portland?
New York.
No, it was
Oh,
New
okay.
York.
You said
No.
Portland.
Well,
and
Portland and Seattle, to me, they both have kind of that gray hipster. Two people trying too hard.
We saw it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
if
2
you're
days in a
from there.
row. We saw it 2 days in a row last tour.
Every friend I've had that's moved to Portland has moved back within a year, and has said that Portlandia defines that city, and that's scary to me. Like,
Honestly, we had fun in Portland.
Portland was actually fun.
I actually had fun in Portland.
Seattle,
I didn't.
not so much.
Not so much, but I had fun in Portland.
Seattle,
Interesting.
none of us could wait. I think I can speak for everybody. We just wanted to get the hell out.
Well,
It just there was like I wouldn't mind going back and like actually like walking around and checking some
if
things
I went
out.
back to visit, I might enjoy Seattle. But as a touring musician and going into the city, having to play a show, I didn't have a good time in
Me and
Seattle.
Kegan walked all over.
And-
I got some nice pictures. I got to see the first Starbucks.
But Portland,
woo!
Portland.
Well, you know what was cool was the next night we're in Portland, and right across the street is the first ever Voodoo Donut. So I was like, yeah, hitting everything.
Voodoo's cool,
But
but
now it's cool because he likes
Voodoo's
it.
cool. Yeah, because I'm fat. I love donuts. But Starbucks, I fucking give two shits about where you see a Starbucks. I don't care if it was the first one, the last one, whatever. They're everywhere. And I love their
Who's
coffee.
the grumpy one now?
Just saying.
Oh,
you
the
can't
only
go.
coffee you should ever have is black.
Hell yeah.
like my soul.
And if,
I
you're,
get my TT.
if you're at Starbucks, go for Pike's Place Black. It's the best. It's good.
What's your rating?
I'm going to be nice. I'm going higher than I should. Only because I do, to Ryan's point, this was definitely a time period piece that if you knew about the time period, you're going to like it more than kids that are 20 years old now are going to go, this is fucking ridiculous. Because they weren't alive for it. I'll give it a 3. 0.167.
I was waiting for it.
I completely hated this movie.
Did you?
I did.
He did.
I really did. I really
All
did.
right, let me just hear this. I just want to know this. Don't talk to it. No details. But my pick and his pick, which one was worse?
I
We already
really,
had this conversation too.
I really hated this movie. Yeah.
You hated this one worse than the other one? How? That was a pile of steaming shit.
There was
yours? Agreed.
there was a good cock joke in his pick, and
There was tits in mine, at least. What?
I don't know. I did not like Singles. I didn't like it in '92, and I didn't like it in '24.
He was 0 for 2 on that
And-
one. Mine's an 0 for 1.
And but I'm not gonna rate it on how I feel about the movie entirely. I'm gonna give it an okay rating because I can understand how the time period, why people would enjoy this film. I also understand how a 20-something person will enjoy this film. So I'm not gonna give it a 1 or that low.
If you do, you do.
I'm gonna meet it right in the middle, 2.5, because I've seen a lot worse, but I can see how this movie would be enjoyable.
You made me watch worse.
No, I have not.
Yes, you have.
No. The Party Animal is way superior to this film.
Fuck no, it wasn't.
Do you know what was worse?
Oh my god.
Do you know what was worse?
What was worse? I agree. I Heart Huckabee. What a piece of shit. See, I'm not saying that about Singles. I'm like, I can see how the people will really enjoy this film. I don't understand how anybody enjoys I Heart Huckabees.
Because you have to be intellectual, that's all.
You have to be on drugs, drunk or something.
That's my only retort. Okay, so
All right,
anyways.
Ryan, what's your...
So you went 2.5.
4.8.
Definitely not. So, as I pointed out...
this is a 5.
No. So, as I pointed out, 13 on Ryan, I like the titties and Bridget Fonda, not going to lie. I love the music, too. 20s Ryan, still sweet, cool, figuring out life. Now, it's just the music for me. The movie had its moments, but it definitely has some pacing issues.
Some pacing issues and editing issues.
And editing issues fully. I didn't like the way that the explanations that bring us together towards the end of this movie got dragged out. So for me, I'm just barely going past James's rating here in a 3.1. I really, I did like the movie, but to me it didn't age as well as I'd hoped, but it was not that horrible.
So we all felt pretty close to the same,
Yeah.
same outcome on this movie.
It was just his pick, so he had to defend it more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got solid points, so I'm good with it. I'll still defend it.
It's Bridget Fonda.
Her boobs. This is a good question. Are they her boobs?
God, I hope so.
Me too. Because if they're not, then that's a body double, and I want to know.
Now you're down to a 1.3.
Yeah, that would definitely change some
I
things.
loved her in Kiss of Death. Or Kiss of the Dragon. What was it? Kiss of the Dragon with Jet Li.
But then what was the movie, Point of No Return?
Point of No Return.
Hell yeah.
That's where I was going with the next one. Lake Placid. God, I love Bridget Fonda.
You really like Lake Placid?
I love Lake Placid. Wait. You're not...
Like Flaccid?
You're going to sit here and argue
You
that...
probably like Anaconda too, don't you?
No.
They're the same fucking movie.
No. I mean...
Snake, alligator.
I will argue this, that not only is Lake Placid the superior film, it has Bridget Fonda, it has Bill Pullman, it also has... Who? Betty fucking White is in this film.
She stopped acting after 2001?
Yeah.
Yep.
Why?
She married Danny Elfman.
She didn't need to do anything. She made all her money and then was like...
She made her money, she married Danny Elfman, and she inherited a lot of money from her father.
She didn't act for the love of it.
I think, I say all this, but more than likely, I think she probably enjoyed acting, but I also think that she got to where she didn't like Hollywood, all being the publicity, and I think she wanted a
by the
family
time
life. And
I don't think it's publicity.
She was only in her 30s when she quit, late 30s when she quit. So.
Yeah, but I think that, to me, those actors we're seeing that are pulling back after they establish a certain amount of stardom and notoriety, those actors that are pulling back, they're the ones who don't want to play the fucking game.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with all the bullshit and all the little parts that come with it, because you got to play the game or else you get kicked to the side real quick.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Well, if you guys have any comments, suggestions, anything like that, you guys can email us at 3cinenerds@gmail.com. If you want to see where you can hear us for your podcast pleasures, you can go to... I just saw him look up. You can go to our...
Pleasures.
Yes.
Ropes.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to go back into this. Our bio on our Facebook has all of these
Women
listed.
in the spider webs.
Jesus Christ. Go find where you can listen to us, and I'm going to let JP talk about these other little points like reviews and follows and shares.
Go ahead, little Nikki.
If you'd like to leave us...
That could not have been better timing. Were you trying to talk like little Nicky?
Get in the flask.
Take two.
If you'd like to leave us a review, please do so. Go to our Apple Podcast, go to our Facebook page, go to wherever you can see, where you can type and write something and leave us a review. And my make-believe computer. Leave us a review. We would love to read them. Also, give us a follow, subscribe, like. Please share, invite your friends, and until next time.
He's James.
He's James.
He's JP. And
So,
I'm Ryan. Peace.
Later.